There are many more exciting things to come. We are extremely honored to welcome Mr. Sailesh Kumar to provide us hands-on training for the session on the topic 2D and 3D meshing, structured and unstructured meshing. Mr. Sailesh Kumar completed his bachelor's in aeronautical engineering from Anna University in 2011. He worked at ADE Bangalore, and from past 3 years he is currently working with Fluidyne. His area of expertise includes CFD analysis, validations, training, grid generation, aerospace CFD, and software testing. Now, may I request Mr. Sailesh Kumar to provide the session.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for providing me the presenter rights, and as well as I'd like to have a brief discussion about meshing and various methodology used in meshing for using our software. This is the one I have planned. I have a small presentation. I require your permission to share my screen.
Yes, sir. You can share the screen, sir.
Yes, thank you. Share. Hope you people can see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So now I'll start with the grid generation, that is meshing part. This is a small presentation I'm having for grid generation, like what is grid and how the grid has to be generated, what are the various types of grid, and finally I will show you two geometries for which I'm planning to create a grid on this particular session, and I will be sharing the this files at the end of the session so that you can able to download and you can practice on yourself. That includes the tutorials also, which you can practice like tutorial wise also. Okay, so this is a presentation. This is a small presentation. We'll start with this small presentation. Okay, first this is the what is mesh. We have to understand is mesh is the discretization of geometry in different parts. Okay, why we require a mesh is like when we hope you may understood why we require mesh from the previous session and what how the mesh has to be generated. All these things you can what are the types of mesh, all these things you might have understood from the previous session. Now we will see what is the mesh in software aspects. Those are the mesh in general aspects. This is the software aspects. So what is a mesh? It's a discretization of geometry. Like as a whole, as a geometry as a whole, you can't analyze using a CFD software. Even though there are some new softwares coming up with the meshless methods, but still many people, 99% of CFD community uses mesh for their analysis of their components. So as I told you, mesh is a discretization of geometry. So what the mesh should be? A mesh should act like a mesh should represent the geometry in a higher order accuracy. What does it mean? Like, see, when a mesh is generated, it should not be different from the geometry. Like when you are trying to generate a mesh for the aircraft sitting inside a spherical domain, it should represent both the aircraft as well as the geometry, the domain, the spherical domain. That should be the correct mesh. Instead, if your mesh is representing only the spherical domain, that means that the mesh is not a correct one. So that's it should represent the geometry in a higher accuracy. So means leading edges will be there. Aircraft means it may have a leading edges, nose cone, trailing edges, all those things. If you go in a microscopic level, and that mesh should have the detailed representation of the leading edge, even the curvature of the leading edge, any kink is there in the leading edge, all these things. Some aircraft may have vortex generators. If the vortex generators are present, means it should go and capture the vortex generator also. So that level accuracy should be maintained. This is not the case for the leading edge alone. It should be the case for the trailing edges also. So because the trailing edges are equally important when compared to analysis like performance of the aircraft and the other parts like the flow separation, all these things. So this should be this is what the point. This is the second point of my presentation explains to you. When we come for the third point, that is awareness of the geometrical details for geometry cleanup. So we know the geometry, what
Sir, your voice is
Yeah,
not
yeah.
audible.
Okay. Now, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Please proceed.
Okay. So we okay, we got a idea of what is mesh and how the mesh should be. Now we will come for the part called geometry cleanup. What is geometry cleanup? Is like when we have geometry, we should analyze the geometry. We should analyze the geometry. That means we have to create the mesh. Okay. Now we will come for the mesh. Okay, meshing in detail. Okay, let's say we are having an aircraft geometry. So we have the aircraft geometry, means the aircraft geometry will have different parts like fuselage, being all this rudder, fin, everything. So these are the major components. We will be using it for our CFD analysis. There are some minor components also. What are those minor components? Are like alpha vanes, beta vanes, pressure sensors, velocity sensors, everything will be there. Those are the small protrusion that will be available in the geometry. But when we are coming for the CFD analysis, let's say we are analyzing the drag for that particular aircraft geometry, means we need not to include the alpha vanes, beta vanes, all these sensors in the, because they are very small components when compared to the total fuselage surface or fuselage volume. When we are trying to include those things in our analysis, means we will be spending more amount in creating more time in creating the accurate measures for those particular components. But the results impacted by that will be less than 1% or less than 2%, which you can attribute to the tolerance for that. Anyway, when we are analyzing geometry, it may be the results may be taken with some buffer. So it will the buffer which will be assigned to that particular results will include all these component details in that. So that's how it should. That's how we will try to neglect those components like those sensors and all, antennas and all. So that is the geometry cleanup. So one user should have a detailed knowledge on the particular analysis as well as particular geometry. So that's how the expertise comes in comes in place. So that's when a new user coming in and he is trying to create a mesh for this particular car, for particular aircraft, means he will try to neglect he will try to include antennas and all. But when an expert person is coming and trying to mesh that geometry, he will try to remove all those antennas, vanes, sensors, everything. So that's how he should have a clear that not only for the aircraft geometry. So whatever the geometry we take, let's say we are taking an engine component in an automobile, so that may have screws, nuts, or everything. So if we try to include all those things in our analysis, means we will be unnecessarily spending time in creating the proper mesh for the particular geometry, as well as it will affect the size of the geometry, the size of the mesh which is created. Because of the small sizes, you may end up with having higher higher elements, mesh elements in that particular geometry. Sorry, in the particular mesh. So which will lead you in the increase in computation time also. But the end result may not change much with and without the particular screw or nut. So that whenever we are planning to create a mesh for a particular geometry, we have to sit and study the geometry in a proper way. We have to clean up in such a fashion that it should not be having any trouble or any concentrated mesh regions, so that the mesh will be having almost good size with good quality and error free. So what, and the fourth point talks about is directly linked up with the third point. That means that the mesh quality, which quality will directly affected by the mesh whatever we are generated on the in the geometry using with and without the vanes and sensors. Means now we will see. So there is a screw. Let's say we have having a nut on engine component. So with and without nut, we will see the with and without nut. We may compare the quality. Means the quality will be better when we are having when we don't have the nut or the screw on that particular geometry. Means it whenever we are creating a control volume on that particular geometry, it will lead us to the sudden rise in element size or sudden decrement in element size when we are comparing the adjacent area as well as the area near the nut. So that and all will be having, that and all will be creating a quality issue. So the errors, like it should not have a very skewed element, it should not have the element with large aspect ratio. All these things are all these things errors should be eliminated. Like it should not have degenerated elements. All these are the elements. These are the errors which may impact on your result directly. So see, we can run the simulation with the bad elements, with degenerated elements, every other error data. But what will be the end result? End result will have lesser fidelity compared to the mesh which have very good quality and those are error free. That's how the mesh has to be generated. These are the 4 points we should be remembering. These are the 4 major points you should remember when you are trying to sit and work on the particular geometry. So whenever you are started working on the particular geometry, at that time itself you should take care of you should take care of this second and third point, so which will be directly impacting on the final fourth point, means the quality. So you should be thinking of different parameters, like the next slide. So whenever you are trying to clean up the geometry, you should be thorough with your mesh methodology. Like what is the mesh you are planning to create on the particular geometry, whether it is a structured mesh or unstructured mesh. There are different methodologies we can use in our Fluid and MP multi-physics user interface, like Fluid and MP. That is like when you can create a structured mesh using the geometry method. You can create an unstructured mesh also, and you can create an unstructured mesh using quick mesh methodology also. See, these things in detail we can see when we are going into the meshing with our software. So these are having their own advantages as well as disadvantages. Means the major advantage for the structured mesh is whenever the geometry is simple without having any complex curvature or complex joints on those things, the user can easily create a structured mesh on the particular geometry. But whenever we are coming for a complex geometry, Like morning we have seen sphere geometries, like complex geometries, engine components and all we have seen. So whenever we have a complex geometry, for example, a user face, human face, whatever we have seen by morning session. I hope you remember that particular geometry. There, it may have a n number of curves and edges, which will not be, which is not be easily separable, and it can't separate those things easily. That means a user can go with the unstructured mesh. And in unstructured mesh itself, we have two algorithms, like one is on geometry and quick mesh. So when we are going for what is the meaning of quick meshes, we have a simple algorithm, like to create the unstructured grid. That means it without with the minimum user interference, you can create a mesh. Like only you need to select the geometry. The parts, other parts like giving sizes and all, will be taken automatically. That's a quick mesh algorithm we are having in our particular software. So this we will see. We'll see when we are going for software. But when we are this has a direct link up with the previous slide, that is the geometry cleanup part. Because when we are trying to create create a mesh for the particular geometry, a user should be aware of what kind of mesh has to be generated with what sizes, or what methodology. He should be aware of that, and he should be directly taking that into consideration when you are trying to go for a meshing. So let's say when we are planning for a structured mesh, the structured mesh means there should be only 4 edges for a surface, or 6 side faces for a shell. So that should be the basic criteria for creating a structured mesh. If that is not achievable, means you should split the geometries in such a way that the face will have only 4 edges, or the shell will have only 6 faces. If that is not possible, means user can directly go with unstructured meshes. The advantage of unstructured meshes are it may help a user in creating the mesh with very less user interference, like geometry cleanup, all these things. It will be quicker compared to creating structured mesh on a complex geometry. Also, the results wise, if you see the results wise, that's a end product or the objective, that you should get a result on the particular geometry. If the geometry is a complex one, user can create a if the geometry is a complex one, user can create an unstructured mesh on the particular geometry, which will have almost the same accuracy as the creating a structured mesh. But the time taken on meshing, it is the trade-off we are giving to the this is the trade-off we are considering from going for the unstructured mesh from a structured mesh in a complex geometry, because the time plays a major impact in the industries. So one day when I spoke about this, I told about the 2D mesh and 3D mesh. What are the 2D mesh? Like if it is a planar mesh, so it may not have an impact on the third direction. So, but the 3D mesh does have the impact on the third direction. So that's how it should be created. So when we are trying to run a simulation, like an aircraft simulation and all, it is directly 3D mesh. But when we are trying to solve a case like flow over a bump, or flow over a cylinder, you can have a you can use it a 3D result, and you can revolve for the 3D one. And similar way, we can analyze our airfoils also using 2D meshes. but wing cannot be a 2D part, so it is a 3D mesh we have to go for. So that's how that's all the differences between 2D and 3D meshes. So for this particular session, we will try to solve. We will try to create two meshes, one for flow over bump in a channel. That means there is a bump here in this region, and we are trying to see how the mesh has to be generated for this particular component here using this one. Then the second part is second geometry is this is a 2D case again. This is a 2D geometry. And the second geometry will be flow over obstacle. Like this is an obstacle here, and what happens to a flow which is flowing from this particular region to this particular region. Like this is a flow through case. The flow is flowing through, and you have a obstacle in the center. So in a location, not exactly at the center, in a location. So these are the two two geometries we are considering for this particular session. What we are doing on this particular two geometries are we will be creating a structured mesh as well as unstructured mesh for flow over a channel using different algorithms in our software. Same thing, we will be creating a 3D mesh which will be structured as well as unstructured using the obstacle case. So one 2D case and one 3D case we are trying to solve in this. We are trying to generate mesh in this particular session. These geometries will be sent to you at the end of the session as well as the tutorials, so that a user can use it for his own practice. So that is what this is a small presentation we are having. We had seen for this particular session. Then we will quit this presentation and we'll directly jump into the software part. So this is a geometry. Though we are quitting this machine presentation and we are going for the Fluidigm CAE. That is our CAD modeler. So what we can do in a CAD modeler is like we can create geometry. We can import the geometry from other softwares and we can clean up the geometry. We can do addition or addition of components or removing of the components from this particular software, and we can export it to our own formats for creating meshes in our software. So now we can see like we can there are different these things available in our menu. Like we can construct a point, a curve, or we can extract phases using this particular options in this menu. Like now we can just see how this geometry is made. Like we have created points. Like we can create points using XYZ location here, and we can create only one point using this particular option. But whenever a user is having a requirement of creating multiple points, we can go with directly using the multi-point option here. So what it does is it creates a multi-point you can create multiple points using this assigning the location here, and just by clicking the option next available in this and for the final point you can create okay. We will see the live example for this particular option here. We'll open CAD modeler. We'll open a CAD modeler. See, our software, we know that we can import. As I told you, we can import the format other geometries from other softwares like other softwares. For that, that geometry should be saved in step or IGS formats. So that is that those are the two universal formats that were used for importing and exporting the geometry files across the softwares. So now we have opened. We can see, we can open the tutorial. This tutorial file will be shared to you. So what we have to do is we will open the CAD. As I told you, we can create multiple points using multi-point option here. So once you can enter this point, means you have to select next, and you can go for creating multiple points there. Multiple points, and when you are entering the final point, what you have to do is you have to give okay instead of giving next, because that's a final point. Because if you give next and you should, if you are giving okay, means at the final point, you'll final point location, if you zoom in, you can see, means there will be two different points available there. So that's why you should not give next when you are assigning the final point. Instead you should give okay. Then this those points should be connected using a polyline option. So you can polyline means you can create a multiple points. You can select a multiple points and create a wire. Wire is nothing but a collection of curves, edges. Then the B spline has to be used for selecting from this particular particular points. That means for the curved bump region, you can create, means you have to, you can create using a B spline option. So this geometry has to be filled with surface, and that should be extruded so that it can be exported to F3D format. So what is an F3D format? Is a Fluidigm 3D file, 3D file, which is our format which we can read in our particular software, and we can go for creating meshes. So this our main objective of this particular session is to see how the meshing has to be generated, how the meshes has to be generated using different options in our software. So we'll directly jump into the meshing part. So we have saved our geometries here. We have saved our geometry here. Let's say we will open geometries one by one, and we'll see how the meshing has to be done for the particular geometry. So first I will open the bump geometry, for which we can create unstructured mesh. The meshing part will be shown by Subhash. So we will I will stop sharing my screen here, and Subhash will continue. Subhash, you can
Okay. Good afternoon, all of you. Sorry for this inconvenience. So I'll continue from here. So Shailesh was discussing about geometry and mesh related aspects by using a Fluidyne software. As you know, we have mentioned about two modules. First one is the Fluidyne CAE CAD that you are possibly seeing on the screen right now. And another one is a Fluidyne MPGUI. So these tools are given to you. So by using these two tools, we work on the mesh generation, geometry modeling and mesh generation. So the idea of this particular session is to give some give some demonstration about these tools and different options which are available. So one of the, maybe I will just start with particular menus, showing some menus from geometry modeling. This is the tool. I hope you are able to see it properly. If there is any issue, just let me know. Fluidyne CAE. As it is mentioned, we can import third-party files also in terms of a step file, IGS file, or in terms of a STL files. So if you want to load, you can load and you can perform the further operations like simplification or healing, or one can model geometry from scratch by using this tool. So let us just start with some modeling concepts quickly, and we'll go to the mesh as mentioned by Shailesh. So this is the viewport. You can see this is called as a viewport. And at the left side, once you open it, you will find the Explorer. Basically, it consists of, it will consist some information, whatever you model here. So once you model surfaces or solid objects, that information will be stored here. And also you will find some information about some shortkeys which can be used. In geometry modeling, mostly shortkeys are used. Okay. And if these things are not there, what you can do is just go to the main menu display, and there is an object explorer that can be just we can make sure that it is turned on. Okay. So that is the point. Now to start with the new geometry, what we do is there is a in main menu new option. Okay. And you can fix it to the particular plane, either XY, YZ or XZ. Okay. So any one of these plane you can select, and you can work on the geometry, right? So we will continue with one of the geometry that he was mentioning. Maybe I'll just change it little bit. Okay. So we will see the flow through the step, and by explaining this particular problem, we will go through the different types of the meshing which we can perform over this particular object. So it will be easy to understand with the simple geometry, the different types of mesh methods, and we can have more time also. So that is the main idea. So let me just quickly start with, though I have geometries, but what we do in this case, as you know, the step geometry, we can model by using the, if you know the point coordinates, then we can model, join the point coordinates, points with lines, and then we can go for surfaces and then solid object. Okay, so I know the point details. One can have the point data, one can get it from the document, either from that other case or this case also, and you can start with details are given. Okay. So we'll try to explain you as the way it is explained in the document, so it will be easy to model. So let us start with some points, what we do, and what are the tricks that we can use it to save some time. For example, these are the main menus. If you want to just have a look into it, the main menus, you can go to the help. There is a help on Fluidyne CAE. Okay. So once you open it, you will find a document, right? And that document also you can use it if you want. There are some tutorials also. Okay, so if you get some time, there are some complicated cases also we have kept, and also simple cases. So these are there, step and bump. Okay, so you can practice it. We will also provide it anyway. Now, coming back to the geometry part, let me create it in XY plane. We will try to understand 2D and 3D. Each software has its own, though concept is same, but the way they create the mesh for 2D and 3D. 3D is anyway, it's okay, it's common everywhere. 2D, you need to understand either it is a planar symmetry or axis symmetry. Okay, so let us just go for points. And for example, we have options. Okay, few options I will just try to explain you, because you will, it is not, and also it is not a final way to generate the geometry. You can find your own way if you learn the software quickly, you know. So there are ways to either to create an entity one at a time, or you can create multiple entities, you know, so that can save your time. Or if you have a point data, you can always import in the text format. Okay. So once you have done with the new geometry, you can see here there is a document at the left side that is created, which is basically this particular document or this particular worksheet, and we can rename it. Okay, and it will have information about whatever we model. So now construction point, multi-point. This particular case, I know the dimensions, so I'll be going quickly through it. Okay, and you can follow the all the options which are mentioned. Also, you can follow this video. Okay, another before going to this, there is one more quick tip to you. You can go to this file preferences. This is where we actually set it. Some default tolerances, or up to what limit we use it. So there are 4 decimal points. Okay, number of decimal points 4. Up to 4 is okay. If you keep 2 or 1 here, it may lead to some small gaps. You know, you may have to repair it or something like that. So up to 4 decimal points, the dimension, it is better to use. Okay, so that is one of the hint. Now let us start this. This is a sketching part in multi-point. Quickly, you can have a look. So first point is, let us say it is starting from origin, and let me just create quickly. So once I create it, I'll let you know which stands where. I'll just zoom it. Maybe one can just see some highlighted spots, or it is available here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. So I'll just select it like this. So these are some of the points that can be generated. Okay. Now let us say this, with these points, we need to just start creating the connecting the edges. Okay. So we have an option. Either you can create one line at a time between the 2 points. If you are not able to see it, I'll make it more visible for you. Okay. So I just put some command, which is actually to measure the XYZ coordinate. Okay, we will see it anyway. I'll try to just show you. So first point is 0, 0, 0. Second point is 1.05. Then Y changes, and then we have another Y remains same, but X. There is a one more point that I will put it. Okay, later. So first of all, as we have generated this point, we can always start saving it. For example, save as. So Fluidyne is saving in its own format, which is called as OPN, star OPN, and F3D, Fluidyne 3D. Okay. So what we do, we create everything, because whenever you are generating a geometry or modeling a geometry, those who have some experience, they know that in geometry we save all the information, vertices, lines, edges. But for meshing, it is not necessary to have all. Okay, we just need a solid. So then what happens to other, either you delete it, okay, or you save it in some other format. Okay, so it's better, what we do is we save it in a OPN, which is always possible to reload and recollect. And the final geometry is required for meshing, we save it into F3D. Okay, this is what if you go through the Fluidigm software. If you are not going through Fluidigm software, then it's okay. Directly, if you want to load a step file, that is also possible. You can load into GUI and you can perform the meshing operations. Okay, so each software has its own formats, right? So now let me just save it somewhere. Okay, it is a best practice to save save always. So I'll just create a folder, day one. Okay. So step open. This particular case, if you follow, this is very simple, but physics is complex. As you know, when flow passes through this particular duct, it gets separated. Okay, and there is a separation, then a reattachment, and many people use it for studying the what you can say, studying the turbulence, different turbulence models to capture the attachment, reattachment, and this separation phenomena. Okay, so we can we'll continue it. So that is the importance of this case. Now let me just close with another 2 points, so I don't have to really, I'll remove it. Okay. So I have just deleted a few points. Maybe you can just delete it, or if you want, we can just move it here and there. That is also possible. I'll not combine here to make it complex. Okay. So we have 1.000, another point 1.05, and the topmost third point. Few more points I'll take it, which are basically x is 0.1, y is 0.11. Next point is x is 0.1, but y is 0.076. Next is x is 0. Okay, and click on OK. So idea of using this multi-point particular option is that you don't have to always open this particular window to create separate points again and again. Okay, you can simply open it one time and you can fill it next each time, and okay, like that everywhere you will find some options everywhere. Okay, the purpose of showing this is to just to understand that everywhere you will have one at a time or multiple at a time. Okay, so that you can think of it. So we have multiple points, as we know. So first of all, let me start with connect option, that connects these 2 points. So that option is called as a line. Either we can, of course, between 2 points, it will be a straight line, or there are multiple options like you can create parallel line, perpendicular line to already available line. That is called as a general line. Or polyline is just like multi-point. You can connect multiple edges at a time. Okay, so one edge at a time, then close the window, then again open the window, then connect another 2 points. So those things are not necessary in polyline. So let us start with straight line and polyline, how it does. And whatever options you have here, you can go through this help also. All these short menus are available here also. Okay, I'm not using it directly just to avoid any confusion. But if you keep your cursor over there at each point, you will find the meaning of that operation. Okay, you have to create polyline, you have to create, like that. So as long as if you do more geometry modeling, you will easily understand this short keys. Okay. Another thing is that in our tool, we don't freeze it actually. So it is always possible to move it from one location to another location, one window to another window. Assembling is also easy. So better don't try to move it randomly, okay, without really required. Then let us quickly create the line between 2 points, straight line, that is called as. So it demands for, instruction curve. So whenever you select the straight line option, what it does is you have to just go near the points which you want to join. Automatically it highlights, and you have to use the left click. So I'll tell you anyway while doing this mouse control. You will also understand most of the selection is done by left click. Most of the other operations like translation or those things are done with right click and middle click. Okay, left click is not used for moving object. It actually shifts geometry. So select one point and select another point. Okay, so it creates one line. Now for another, you have to select, you have to go to that option like that. Okay, so to avoid this, what we can do is we can go to polyline option. Okay, and in polyline, if you see, you can just simply go and selecting the points. Now, the advantage of polyline is that even you can put coordinates here. So you really don't need to create a coordinate points. Okay, directly by using polyline option, you can create the object. Okay, and select both OKs. Okay. So this way, either you go simple way or you can try other things. Okay, there are options where you can select all the points, and also you can go to you know create options like from control points you can create a surface. For example, in aeroplane shape you will have a number of points, so you can create like this. So this is okay. Hmm. If you once you go into the details of the different options, these kind of options are also available. Select direct points and create it. Of course, this kind of shapes won't be created directly, but at least curves. Okay. Now, how to just do the surface? Okay, let me just save it as a backup. Okay, in a OPN file, just make sure that, or you can note down also, we save it in a OPN file format. Okay, now once we create this, we what we do is we select all the edges or all the, when you create multiple edges, it is called as a wire. Okay, that we keep that you remember, and then to make a closed face, just need to select all the edges one by one. We are going. Okay. And after that, there is an option called as geometry, surfaces, fill curves. So time being, you can just see where we are going, and you can you try to understand the purpose. Okay, like this. So it is a filled 2D surface, two-dimensional surface. Okay, there is nothing in third dimension. Right? It is an XY plane. So this is the easiest way to create the 2D surface, right? Another thing is we have selected edges and wire together, and then we went for that option. What you can do is before that, you can select the edges and wire together, and there is an option called as a sew, construction sew, which actually joins all the edges together and makes it a close edge group. That is called as a wire again. Okay, so first you can do this, and then you can come back this. Sometime this is important because when sometime if there is any gap between the two edges and wire, then you can identify with this. If sewing is creating a wire, then definitely it is okay, everything is properly connected. If there is any gap, it won't create. Okay, so these are some of the ideas. Now I will just let me just save it once again. Surface. What I will do with respect to this surface, we will discuss different types of meshing and different types of 3D, 2D, whatever the way we have, how to generate it. So first of all, it is saved in OPN file. What I'll do, I'll just delete other things because it is already saved, and you can recover at least 21 if you do on under operations. On 21 steps you can go back. So we have deleted all the which components which are not required. Okay, so this is the first geometry part. The next one, let me just quickly explain you. We have this face. I have created another viewport. I'll just copy it by simply right clicking over it, and you can paste it here. Okay, and pick option to see it. So we can take it from one object explorer to the another viewport. Sorry, one viewport to another viewport, right? And then we'll do some 3D operations. How to generate a 3D from 2D. Okay. So this particular step, it is actually having a thickness, particular thickness. So we'll try to create that thickness, 1 meter, for example. Sorry, 0.1 2 meter we will take. Okay. Now to create that thickness, this is called as a Boolean operation, and it is actually done through some Boolean options which we have. So the particular operation that is actually required to generate 3D from 2D is called as a extrude. Extrude edge or extrude along a wire. Okay, so these two options are there. So whenever you feel that you have to do model the 3D from 2D, you just go to these options. You will find one of them. Okay, mostly extrude or revolution. Other things are once you model the 3D object, then we have to use them. Okay, so I think you must have got some idea that we are looking for construction. Then we are looking into application. Okay, these two options only we are playing, right? So most of the operations are available in these two options. Let us show you how to create 3D. So what we do here, we create a local coordinate system. We just don't move it in XYZ direction. We need to have one local coordinate system. So for that, we need one reference line. Okay. So for here, it is a shortcut for polyline, for example. In polyline, I'll just try to create one reference line in this particular direction, thickness direction. Okay. And that is a Z direction. We have created in XY plane, and it has a thickness in Z direction. To select it or to create it, we can take any reference point. The coordinate will be shown here. And the next point coordinate, which is a thickness, I'll just put it here. And then it highlights actually where it is going. Okay, so you can see the point which it is going to create actually. So you can easily understand that it is kind of a preview. Okay, and then we do this. See, this is actually the software is for the whatever computational analysis purpose, whatever options are required, those options are available here. So everything is there from a computational analysis point of view. So this is the 3D. That is the 2D surface. This is a 3D object. Okay. I'll also delete which are not required. Some nomenclature. When you have a face, it is called as a face or surface or surface. But when it is when multiple faces come together, it is called as a shell. Or when when you just simply create a 3D, it is called as a shell. So shell is not essentially only 3D. So that is another point. I'll delete the other points. Now, if you feel, just give me a minute. Okay, so to take it, or you have to go back, then you can extract some information. Okay, before that, I'll just save this. Maybe you have to just click on the viewport, file, save as, and step 2. We just saved it, OPN. If you want to extract anything, construction, extract. Okay, there are options to call as a face, wire, edge, extraction, or vertex. For example, face. So if you click on that face, it generates the face. Okay, so that means you can or any other purpose. Okay. So these kind of operations are available, and one should aware of these things. Okay, while doing it. Now another short quickly, I'll do some operation on geometry, and we'll go for meshing then quickly. Okay, this one is there. Let me take again here. Okay, and what I'll do, I'll try to cut it into the portions as mentioned by Shailesh. We need some faces with 4 edges only. Now this is the one face. If I just check the properties, right clicking properties, it consists number of edges 6. So this is not useful for structured meshing. Structured meshing is done on the face which has a 4 edges, or on the solid which has a 6 faces. Okay, so that's why we need to work on this. We will work on surface. Okay, before going to the 3D. So what we can do here, we have to convert this face into the number of faces. okay, which can be used for the structured meshing. So now let me just create polylines. Okay, by using short key V or short key H. Okay, on the keyboard. So V means it will go into vertical direction only. H means horizontal direction. Maybe you can you just remember it, right? So what I have done is I have randomly created one line starting from one reference point from the geometry and just drawn vertically by using V, and outside of the geometry I just kept it, whatever coordinate is there. I don't mind. Why? Because I just need to select this surface and I want to cut it into two parts. Maybe I just need to increase it a little bit. Okay. Let me take it vertically. The line was not passing through whole object. So we can make sure that line passes. If you have 2 points, you can create point. Reference point, you can create vertical and horizontal lines. For example, I'll just take this reference point, end point, and by using H key, I can create horizontal. And to end the operations to select, we will be only using a left. Let us select this construction, cut into two parts. So like that, we have three faces now. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and each one, if you see, it has a 4 edges. So like that, we need to work on work for the structured mesh. These are not necessary. Okay, and I'll save this as a step 3. See, so we have a 3, and now we will go for a meshing. We will not spend time here. Properly, there are tutorials, and you can directly contact us if you need. Okay, just to give you some idea, in case if you want to move object from one place to another, there is a feature called as a transformation where you can, which you can use it, and then you can go to the different options, primitives. Okay, like that. Okay. So for understanding 2D 3D meshing, this part needs to be we need to understand this particular part. So we spend some time here. One by one we will okay, so OPN is saved, but in GUI either we load step file or F3D file. Okay, so let me save it one by one. Step file, F3D for meshing. You can directly save as a F3D also by removing unnecessary parts. No need to go in 2 steps. Okay, next step 2. Next step 3. Okay. Let me save it again, step 2. Okay, so it is there. So we have a 3 now. With respect to these 3, we will explain you the meshing features. Okay, so just go back to the GUI, which is used for the meshing purposes, right? Shailesh mentioned about one 2D geometry here shown, planar geometry. Of course, there is another symmetry that is called as axis symmetric. Okay, for circular shapes. We will see one by one. Now, this is the platform which is called as a Fluidigm Multiphysics Graphics User Interface. Okay, Fluidigm MPGI. This is the component of Fluidigm MP software suite. Right, and this one is used for meshing purposes, entire case setup, post processing. All 3 activities are possible in one tool only. Okay, so let us load this particular F3D file. Step, we will start with the step 1 first. Okay, so once you load it, it looks like this. Okay, and here you can have a mouse control, whatever mouse control you want to try. Geometry doesn't displaces from its position. It will not, so you can easily learn it. Okay, like middle mouse click for zooming in, left for rotating, okay, like that. Or keeping in XY planes, you can use these, right? So we'll focus on meshing. As soon as we load it in the left side, this is the viewport and the left side is the Explorer again. Whatever Explorer is there, that will open. For example, I have right clicked over it. Okay. So you can see multiple toolbox or explorers which are available. So as and when so by mistake, if you close it, it will be available here. Okay. We So that option, maybe just let me quickly, maybe only this question I'll take it. So here is the option in quick mesh. So there is a geometry from database, from file. And if you browse, okay, we can guide later. All right. So from here, as you are opening through this file option, what you can open is F3D file, which is actually given through our software. Other file for Astran, CGNS, these are the files. So if you feel or neutral file also, if you have any of this format coming from other software which you are mentioning like ICMCFD or whatever, so you make sure that you are saving in these formats, you can take it. You can restore the namings, inlet, outlet, okay, whatever. So that is the advantage. Now let us focus on this, some features. What do? We will go with one of the option. There are two options as mentioned by Shailesh. One is a mesh, create on geometry and from mesh. On geometry and quick mesh option. Okay, we will. I'll just go through quick mesh first, which is used for the unstructured meshing. Okay, either triangular on the surface or tetra on the 3D. So what do we do here? This is the geometry. You just go to quick mesh, QM. Okay, short key it is given here, quick mesh. For quick mesh, we have option here only, right? Other options which are available here, like primitives on geometry, they are here also. Okay. So we are trying to add features which can save our time, right? So we know that this is a 2D surface. It can be created with triangular mesh only. Okay, we cannot create tetra. So for that we will see. But so it asks input as a face, which is here. Okay. So for that face, to select it, either you select directly from the viewport, okay, by creating some border around it, or if you want to select, you can select like this. Okay, I'll show you. Here, there is a geometry toolbox, which consists of a curve representation and surface representation. Only these two options. Okay. So from this directly, it is possible to select by using left click. It will be selected here. If you don't want, remove it from here. There is an option. Okay. Just to create a border by using right click. Let that border, like you are selecting object. Okay. Let that border select it. Okay. There is another border which is possible to select. It is called as a like this for any complicated shape. So these are here, rectangle, polygonal border, or simply, as I told you, you select by left click. Okay. Now, what are the inputs which we give? So it asks for face and it asks for minimum, maximum. So automatically it has detected a maximum edge length and minimum try to create based upon this. So you know this I have given as a 0.105. So it has taken whole. Okay. So I'll just reduce it because I need more elements. So maybe I'll go with 0.01, 10 times. Okay. And let us see. And minimum age, I will not change anything. Just change the maximum. We'll see. Okay. So it has generated some mesh. Okay. So it has tried to create 0.1 on the edges, 0.01, and whatever possible, it has generated number of elements, number of divisions, and inside based upon algorithm, automatic mesh. We have no control. I just control the number of divisions on the edges. It's easy. Okay. Now, if you go for more options, if you want to understand, like 0.9, if you give one mesh density, it will try to create uniform mesh. Okay, here it is given actually. Sorry. Uh, Mesh density, what it means, this is one algorithm to generate the mesh. So 0 will go for a coarse mesh. If you go for 0, smaller, and if you go for 1, it will try to create maximum possible elements. Like that, this option, particular option, what it does, it gives 0 for uniform mesh and 1 for non-uniform mesh. So if you go close towards the 0, everywhere you will find same number. So that is our target. That's why initially we put this. You can try by changing this. Okay, how it generates. Now in measure, if you see the mesh is created here, measure style. That is a mesh explorer, and this is the mesh. If you right click and just check the information, it gives all information. It is a triangular element, and how many elements are there, how many nodes are there, how many boundary faces are there, what is the mesh extension, you know, for example, minimum maximum extension in x direction, y direction. So you get to know about dimensions. What is the surface area? This is the area, total volume here. Right. So that is the first thing we do. Another thing what we do is, this is a mesh. If you want to know the entities of the mesh element, so we just change it to preprocessor by left clicking it. This is just to save some auto grouping, which creates all the groups which are explained, okay, in the previous session. Okay. All right. So like this, we can create multiple you consistently check the quality. So you can go for this quality check. There is an option called as a quality check or mesh quality. Okay, that option is there. Or there is a short key just before the quick mesh. In that, again by just selecting from here, aspect ratio. Okay, update. So it is showing aspect ratio 1.25 maximum. So there are some elements which are having slightly more dimensions. Okay, maybe you can zoom and check. Right. So like that, we can have we can check this one quality, skewness, those things we check it for 3D mesh. We will see it later. Okay, now I will just perform few operations on this and we'll try to show you some interesting features. Those who do CFD, they may understand, they may have used, but most of the time, if we find this kind of operation, it can save some time. Okay, so we have this particular, I just plotted it, show only. And there is a mesh representation, different format, here, edge mode, wire mode, shaded mode, shaded edge with points. Okay, like that. See, different ways are there. Okay, so we'll keep it into the wireframe mode or shaded mode, whatever you like. You can, for better improvement to show in your reports, you can change the visual property, color, those things are available. So okay, so this is our first mesh, simple quick mesh, and this is not a structured mesh, unstructured mesh. We don't have any control, and it is like that. Can we generate a 3D from this? Can we generate a 2D? What is 2D? Okay, so in 2D, what we do, there are two types of 2Ds. One is a planar 2D, another is a axisymmetric. Okay, so planar 2D is just, it is considered when we have a flow which is perpendicular to this or which is along the direction, axis direction of this, which is not actually, the third dimension is not actually affecting the flow much. That there is no variation in the third dimension. If you find such a scenarios, for quick understanding of the flow pattern, you can use it. This is not used in design, okay, or optimization studies, but to give you some idea how the flow structure will be. So what we are actually considering that in this plane, whatever variation is there, flow parameters, that is going to be like that throughout. Now same can be axisymmetric. What is axisymmetry? If you have a pipe structure, you can take a quarter portion of that. In that you can study, and whatever flow structure is there, that can be taken all around the circumferential direction. Okay. Okay, since we need one cell, at least one cell, and that cell we keep it there. Okay, I'm so sorry, my voice is breaking. Is it clear now? Hello?
Yes, sir. It is clear
Yeah.
now.
Okay, okay.
But in between, it is some problem is there.
When there was some issue. All right. All right.
Okay. Please continue.
Okay. Explain it again, no problem. So I was talking about planar symmetry and axis symmetry, 2D cases, okay? Because topic of discussion is a 2D. So what we do is only one cell we create. So ideally the distance doesn't matter. We try to keep it small, but the distance doesn't matter as this only one cell is there. And we put symmetry condition on the two surfaces, both side, so that avoid if any calculation is there, in z direction in equation. So, or you can just switch off the third direction momentum equation. Okay, so these are things. All right, so let us see how we can generate one element by using this. My only point is that we can save some time in geometry modeling. That is the only thing that I want to explore here. We have some Boolean operations. For example, mesh, create. From mesh, there are some Boolean operations like extrude, revolve, those things we have already seen there. So same we can do it. Let us see. Okay, extrude. So this is the 3D, direct 3D, unstructured 3D. Then extrude option is there, EXT, right? Let me show you, then you will understand. I have selected the mesh, and in direct cosine, I'll just select the Z direction. You can also open it and put it one here, direction cosine. If you want to put it in a particular direction, you can have its direction cosines and you can put it. Or if you don't really don't want to do that in random direction, you can always take face mesh and one edge you can take it from geometry, and we can do some mesh that is called as a sweep mesh. Okay, sweep mesh is the option there. Let us say 0.2 is a thickness. We will keep only one division and growth factor is 1. 1 is uniform. Let's see. So this is how we have done. Same thing, you can do it in geometry, bring it here and division, but it is not necessary. Okay, this is 2D. I suggest, I have taken a 0.2 entire thickness. We can take smaller. Okay, maybe it doesn't matter really. Uh, so that is the first point. Another one is a 3D, how to create a 3D. Now what is the, okay, let me create 3D, then I will explain about element type. Same, nothing is changed, only number of divisions I will increase to 10. See. Easiest way. Okay, so 10 divisions. Now the element type, how to identify, because surface is a triangular mesh and that is extruded. So triangle, when you extrude, it becomes wedge. Particular cell, for example, and just show you, it looks like this. This is what we were talking about from the morning. Okay. Right, like that, multiple elements are fit. So for example, we have created multiple meshes. It doesn't delete until unless you delete it. So we will save it, maybe export, file export option is there, and we'll save it here as a step 1. I will save 3D and surface. Okay. So file export. You have a choice to select. Okay, whichever you want. We are saving in. We can save in STL. We can save in CGNS if you wish to take it and check it somewhere. It is possible. So first one is the surface. Okay, so like this, only these few options. If you remember how to generate, then it is easy. Let me just So if we have like this 3D, there are options, at the top to perform on the elements, nodes, or mesh group. Like that, we have some options. So let us say, for example, I want to just work on the element and faces. Okay. So what is done basically when we do the grouping part in the mesh, only elements. In elements, there are multiple groups. Basically, it is generated based upon the element type. Okay. So here we have a first group, which is a total, irrespective of type of the element. It is a total. But then wedge is available there. That's why wedge group is again created. In this case, both are same, but it will be always there. Okay. And only one geometry is there. So geometrical part, it has no significance anyway. Sometimes we have a object inside this object, flow or something. So that it creates here, geo1, geo2. So it is easy to take it. Now I will just plot one of them, and there is an option for using a rectangle. For example, you can just select particular region and we can hide it and check it inside. This is the way we check what is happening inside. Whether it is a uniform, non-uniform, quickly you can check. If it is not, go back here. It will be always there. You can take it if you want. You can put it at different locations. Like this, it will not go until unless you close it. Okay, so you can always have multiple meshes. You delete old meshes, and as soon as you feel okay, this is correct mesh, you can keep it. Right? So these kind of things we can perform. Let us quickly go back to maybe I'll just put it here again. Okay. Let us go back to quality of this 3D mesh. Aspect ratio, skewness. So it shows close to the 88, 89 all. Okay. It is okay as long as you are you can try to minimize it. Okay, it's not a problem, but this should be working fine. And this way you check it. So uh, this is the way to generate a surface mesh. Then you can perform. Okay. Now another important Boolean operation I just forgot to show. It is also available here. Mesh create from mesh revolve. Okay. So revolve operation. What it does. So I'll just take the surface again. Axis is 0, 0, 0. Okay. I'll open it here. And another axis, the point and direction, if you want to just rotate about x-axis. Okay. 360-degree divisions, I will take 100. Revolve it like this. See, if you don't know, if we don't have any option here, you should go to the geometry. Then you have to do these things and create whole geometry, cylinders, cylinder over cylinder, and you have to come back and make arrangement like this and extrude. Okay, so this is the way we do generally, but here you can find some of the options which are really useful from 2D to 3D. Okay, we are going from 2D to 3D now, and this is something different. This is not a step anyway, but cylinder kind of. So it is sometime you will find that okay, this way we can easily do it. Use it. Okay, no need to go for geometry. Only thing is that what I gave as input, that face, then one reference point, and which along which axis it is going to rotate. So I know along x-axis I wanted to rotate with some with 0, 0, 0 origin. So it created. So this is another point. I suggest you just sit and just go for these options, primitives, line, triangle, rectangle. Just like it has some window to fill some inputs. You give some so you give some input and just try to check. At the worst, what it will do, it will not generate anything. It will generate bad element, bad mesh. So it doesn't matter, but for practice, you can easily check it. I just show one of the primitive, maybe for example, rectangle, okay, box. So length is, for example, 1.05, same. This is 0.2. Then create some 50 elements along x direction, some 5 elements along y direction, and 2 elements along z direction. Like this. Okay. Now from this, let me create a grouping. Okay, I'm not doing anything else, just selecting it, grouping it. Okay, I'm just selecting elements. From this, what is possible is that I can remove this portion. It is step, and only this part I can save it. New mesh. Step C. So if I know how to control this mesh, I really don't have to go for geometry also. Okay, so just giving you some ideas, you can save your time, or you can, this is something you may find it interesting. So, and this mesh, you can save it simply. Like this, step 2, for example. It can be done. Of course, you need to just make sure that you have proper dimensions, proper divisions, but it is worth of giving try to this, right, without creating geometry. So this is one part. Another part, let me just close this here. Okay, sorry. One more part I wanted to explain is quickly primitives. For example, it is explained already. So like that, we have many more primitives. Cylinder, sector, or pipe. So you can try this. File, close case. So I'm just closing it. Okay, everything is gone. I load another one. This is 3D, directly 3D. Okay, same. You go for quick mesh. Keep it in a shaded view. Instead of triangular mesh, select tetra mesh. Then select the object. Same. I'll just give here 0.01 I gave. Okay. Here, maximum volume is an important factor to control inside mesh. In 2D mesh, we have only maximum ledge length, but here maximum volume. I explained to you, for example, if the total volume of the mesh, total volume of the geometry is 100 meter cube, and if you give maximum volume equal to 1, it tries to create maximum element with 1 meter cube volume. So if it is creating all elements with 1 meter cube, you will be having 100 elements inside. Okay, ideally, though it goes here and there because it depends upon the how the boundary edges are divided, right? But this will try to go to that. I will not change anything as what we have done here. When you select maximum edge length 0. Just to allow it. Okay, so first mesh without changing anything. I have not done any changes except point. Okay. How many elements? Though you can check it there also. Close it. Eraser option just to erase from the viewport. And this mesh, I will plot it again. Like this. Now again, I can just take this is not good because it is not uniform and has large elements. Okay, then what to do? Change it, make it like this. Only one. Let me just show you again another mesh. Still, it is not going to that. Sorry. Okay. So we can work like this. Optimum size. Okay. So I'm not going in detail now, but this way it is easy to trial and error. That is why it is called as a trial and error, and it works like this. So this mesh, we will check the mesh quality because this is important. Right. So mesh quality option, aspect ratio is okay. 8. I told you 100. So it is way below. Okay. I think here it is performing on the. So here you can see the maximum it is showing 176 like that. Okay. So you have to just maybe just show you the histogram. You plot it. I'll just check it. Huh? So here it is showing some of the locations which are not good, which you can need to work on this. You can identify the location and you can work on this. One can take, one can take it particular part, save it as a new mesh, and then on this mesh only we can perform some refinement options so that to avoid having large elements there. So like that also it is possible to. So this is another direct 3D by using a quick mesh option. Previously it was a 2D then 3D like that. Okay. I'll close it again. Let me show you that particular part. I just missed out on one thing. Okay, so I'm just loading the surface mesh. The one part that I missed is axisymmetric mesh. So what do we do here? Mesh, create on from mesh. Okay, evolve. So we will select this. It will be along x-axis. See, I have what I have given. The point is a corner point 0, 0, 0, and this state line is along x-axis. So that is the thing I have given. Only one division. You can give 5 degrees. I'm sorry, it has selected only particular part. Mesh, create from mesh, revolve. Okay. Then division 1, angle 5. Don't go for 360 with one division, okay? That is not correct. Like this. See, it has a step, quarter section. So this is called as axisymmetric because original geometry, original is a, whatever we created, that 3D cylindrical object. Okay, but we know that flow is only along axial direction mostly. It is not going to have any impact. It is not going to change circumferentially. Then we go for this to have a quick accessing. It gives good result also. If our flow is going to change circumferentially and still you are going to consider this kind of a sectors, we have to apply periodic conditions or cyclic boundary conditions with some more number of elements, of course. So that is also there. Okay, but this is the idea behind the axisymmetric case. Okay, so it will not have any variation along circumferential direction. It will have only variation along x direction and along the radial direction. Okay, so that is the main idea. So I hope you are understanding the concept 2D and 3D. 3D is a real geometry, is a mesh. 3D is a normal. In 2D, there is a planar 2D and there is a axisymmetric 2D. Okay. So these two concepts you have to remember, right? Now going back to structured, this all whatever I am explaining here is unstructured. I have no control over the mesh except few divisions here and there. But there is a mesh which is called as a structured. Again, just load it. Step 1, step 3. It has multiple faces. I'll keep it in a shaded view, right? Okay, so I'll continue it. There was some disconnection. So here, or you should divide your, either it is surface Now by this time you must, I think you are understanding why I am using only surfaces, why I am not going for a 3D mesh, a 3D geometry and cutting it. Right? As you know, we can extrude surface. So in structured mesh, always look for the regions which has a constant cross sectional area, so that you can easily extrude by taking surface. Don't go for a 3D and cut it and combine. Okay, so always try to find out um, first as a first step. So for this, there is an option called as a on geometry. We create on geometry. Okay, so 1D mesh, 2D mesh, 3D mesh, like that. Okay, so 2D mesh, surface 2D mesh. In surface 2D, this is the second option. This is 3D. Face we have to select. So we will select one by using control key. Okay. First, make sure that this dialog box is open. 1, 2, 3. So 3 selected by using control key. Just like normal selection, we are using control key, okay, and selecting by using left mouse key. Now all these three faces, you have to go for a structure mesh. Mesh type. Structure mesh. Type is chord only right now. Okay. And then of course, you need to have a number of divisions in x direction, y direction, same, right? So that is called as a edge discretization here. By default, 1 divisions are there. Go for edge discretization. In this, you can keep it in wireframe if you want for easy understanding. Select the edge by using left mouse click again. It highlights. See. Okay, pink color. And then for that edge, how many number of divisions? I'll give 5. Growth factor 1. And I'll just display it. Display is nothing but creating it. So 5. Everywhere by default, it is taking 10 as it was 10 default here. So it is taking 10. But wherever you are selecting, it is taking 5. Now 5, 5, 5. We need 5, 5 in this direction, next direction. This is very cumbersome exercise, right? You cannot select one edge and making sure that let it like that. So what we do then? We have an option called as a covalent. And in covalent, we select this edge, give the number of divisions 5, and just display it. So whatever is parallel to this edge, it will be considered having same number of divisions. See, it saves our, here also let us create 5. Here create some 30. See, this has saved, here create some 3. This has saved our efforts. 1, 1, 1. So this kind of option is available here. Sorry, here it is 30. Okay, so you can check one of the edge you can take and you can create it. Okay, now once you are okay, is nothing but performing the operation. That's it. Structure mesh. You know, you have control who don't really it is not irregular, random, approximate, you know, I mean whatever unstructured mesh takes, whatever way unstructured mesh is generated, it is not like that. You are taking care of each and every this, you know, you have a surface mesh, you can always go for revolution, you can always go for extrusion, you can always go for other parameters. But another important thing here is that you have a 3 different, you have 3 different phases and mesh is generated. So whether this mesh is uniform, continuous or not, it is not continuous because there is a clear cut distinction between 3 phases. So we have a 3 different meshes in one mesh. What is that? They are connected with each other with some common interface, which if you don't okay, there was some interruption. So these 3 phases have common intersection, a common connection, which if you don't treat properly, it will act as a wall. That means flow will not pass through it. Okay. Then what to do? That is called as a merging. Okay. In quick mesh, whenever you have a multiple faces, we have given a facility to merge automatically because we really want to merge it. Here we have a choice either to merge which one you want, which one you don't want, you know. So that operation is again called as a mesh, manipulate, okay, in modify, merge. See, I'm just going from create to manipulate, okay, like this. And then you can merge it. Or these are short keys are here. It is here, modify. Small key is there. And in merge, you can select the geometry, keep the tolerance as a 0.5, whatever it is. Keep one, okay. You will see the difference, okay. So there are two meshes, left side if you see in Explorer. First one I will plot, okay, only mesh and keep it in a wireframe mode. You can easily see, easily the clear cut distinction is there, you know, between the different faces. Same if you just go for the merged mesh, there is no distinction. See, it is a one mesh now, one face, continuous mesh. So we don't have to really. So this is again an important point that if you are working, just make sure and take it. I will just try to uh, create a 3D mesh again. So mesh. Uh, okay. So here is a mesh. Create from mesh extrude. You know, extrude option is there. Second option. Select it in Z direction. Z direction or do it distance maybe 0.2 divisions 10. Okay, like this. So this is one for one mesh. Okay. Now, if you feel that you don't need a uniform mesh in this direction, what is to be done? Then growth factor option is there. Everywhere, you know, everywhere you will find this option. I'm just explaining here. I'll give growth factor as a 0.1. Sorry, 0.9. So 0.9, it is a one is uniform. Okay, so if you give 0.9, it will have a fine to coarse combination like this. I hope it is visible maybe in this plane. So it has 0.9, it has created coarse to fine. So we have a coarse mesh, then fine mesh like this. In Z direction, positive Z direction. If you give, then if you give another direction, it should be 1 by 0.9, which will be close to 1.1. So if you just create, it will be in opposite direction. And if you just like coarse to fine, fine to coarse. If you want symmetrically distributed, you know, that option is here. I'll give 5 here. Maybe some more to visualize it properly. So you have a choice to create the mesh. So this one, I think you will be understanding when you are going to do some aerofoil cases. We can create a fine layer and coarse as you go towards the outer boundary. So you have all these controls, and this is possible to generate it. And as I told you, any part of the mesh, any part of the new mesh can be created. Okay. For example, if you have a fluid solid interaction and the some elements are solid, some part of this mesh, you can take it and create. Uh, sorry. So some part of the, new mesh, you can create a solid. And remaining, you can hide that portion, and remaining you can save as a fluid. If you want, if you wish to. Or, I mean, I'm just choice to take a part of the mesh and you can save it. Okay. These activities can be performed. Okay. Even once you do the grouping, there is a boundary face. Only boundary face you can save, and you can fill it with tetra. Right. I'll show you. For example, this is the boundary face from this mesh, and if you save this as a boundary face, for example, file, export, B face, the last mesh. And if I just take it here, that face, yeah, I'm loading face, okay, not geometry. Can you imagine we can fill it with tetra? For that, we need to divide it into triangles and then write. So it is automatically done here. That option is called as a mesh, create from mesh, tetra mesh. Not the quick mesh option, okay? Quick mesh is directly done there itself. So this option is here on the mesh, U3D, unstructured 3D. And there we select the boundary face. Again, I am going to use 0.01 and apply. Now this one, if I check the info, it is a tetra. And if I cut it, it is tetra. So you can go from one mesh to another from another. First of all, the basic thing is to understand how to generate a surface mesh using quick mesh or using on geometry by putting some points. Then some of the Boolean operations. Okay, Boolean operations like geometry you can perform here. And then once you understand, you can go from one to another, one phase to another. Okay, what does it mean? Another thing, interesting thing, as I have some time, I'll quickly show some of the so let us say we have a boundary faces. Okay, we have a boundary faces, and out of this, I just need to take this boundary face, left side boundary face, okay, which is in x direction, in positive x direction. And check it. So this one, if I just copy, create a new mesh, for example, this one. Can be scaled like mesh, modify, transform, scale. So I can scale it by 100 times, scale down. Okay, so I have this face only, this face. Maybe 10 times. Let me show you one important feature. I will not go for because it is very small. It is going. So mesh, manipulate, transform, and scale. Only 10 times will do this. Okay. And just create it. Show only. Then this face. Show. Like this. So we have two locations. One is here, one is here. Okay, maybe I'll plot like this. Show, and this one show. So we have two faces because it is scaled with 0, 0, 0 reference. It has created up 0. If you use center point of this, it will be here. So now if you have two, there is an interesting feature to map it one phase to another, So from one phase, phase 1, we can map it to phase 2 like this. This is called as a lofting in geometry. Or this can be used cyclone separators. You can go for some of the objects wherever you find it important, So this will saves the considerable time in meshing in geometry modeling. Okay, so that's why these features which are inbuilt, which are apart from regular conventional meshing strategy, they are available here, which you can find it useful. I'm sure this will be saving some time. Okay, so this one is there. Okay, so maybe I'll stop here. I'll take up questions. If we don't have any questions, then something can be explained. So, okay, thank you so much. So if you have any questions, please ask me. If you have any questions.
Just 1 second, sir.
Yeah.
So somebody is asking, it's not related to the meshing. They're asking, is it possible to have a single geometry construction here and mesh, and we can use that during the all sessions? I think we'll be having different.
I mean, they want to just try themselves.
No, sir. They are asking whether the same model will be used in every sessions.
No. This is actually a general 2D, two-dimensional 3D introduction, how we do it and what are the different ways to generate the mesh. There are some innovative ways. No, this will not be used further.
Okay, sir. Somebody else is asking one. I think you have already addressed that.
We are having too many topics, so there is no time actually for a proper software training, which normally requires about 3 to 4 sessions.
Yes, sir. I think you have answered this question
So,
already, that can make geometry
yeah.
from other software and we can import it. I think we have discussed that already.
Yes. It is, yeah.
Yeah. And
So step
another one,
IGS.
what about the quality of meshing in Fluidine with other analysis softwares?
I think each software, each solver is whatever solver is there, finite volume code. It is based upon the particular mesh structure. So we have certain criteria in mesh. As long as we are following those mesh criteria, mesh quality criteria, there is no issue with result analysis. So it is I mean, it is related to particular software. It is not, we cannot just compare this mesh with another solver, because if they have particular, if that solver is particularly developed for particular cell alignments, orientation, then that is different thing. We are using our tool only, so there is no problem in.
I think there is no other questions.
What Subhash is,
So really, we can't compare.
is that each software has its own meshing requirements. There are some general requirements, of course, which I have talked in the morning, and Subhash also has talked earlier, like what
Yes,
aspect ratio, skewness, such requirements. But if you are telling about particulars, then each software will have its own requirement.
I think there is no more questions. I think. Any more questions from the participant side?
I think it is. If you have any question, yeah. I think document, okay, and all the details are available.
Okay, sir.
Just
Yeah.
showing you. So you just follow these documents. If we, even if it is there in our software itself in help menu, you can quickly open and check the particular tutorial, which is not including only geometry part. It will be having mesh as well as entire until the entire case setup is over and result analysis is done.
Sir, this
Or
PDF will be shared with us.
it will be shared, yes. All respected documents we will give you to share with everyone. Or in case it is available in
Sir,
software
there is
itself.
another one more question. Is there
Yeah.
any mesh difference in dynamics and static analysis?
Stress analysis you're talking about, right? So static
Yeah, I
or
think so.
okay, there are two ways. I mean, in Fluid, there is also static and dynamic mesh. Like we have a mesh for regular application where mesh is not moving, flow is there, flow is happening inside this. Or dynamic mesh is a mesh movement itself. For example, mesh moves either layer by layer, it is moving, like it is compressing, getting expanded, or either whole block is moving. Okay, or either the particular element group is moving. For example, in train movement cases, in IC engine cases, or in turbo machinery cases. So there mesh moves actually. So mesh is not static, right? So there is a difference. The way it is generated, the way the interface is created, So we need to take care for the further purposes. Also, the important part is in dynamic mesh. If you say dynamic mesh, like in IC engine, they are using the compression expansion of the mesh. Mesh is getting compressed. It reduces the volume, then it increases. So that time we need to take care about mesh overlapping. It should not create any gap, zero volume concept. So those things are there. So it is very different. It is completely different, static and dynamic mesh. Static is nothing but all normal flow analysis we are solving.
So there are a few more questions. Is it possible to discuss about dynamic meshing in any of the session? Is it possible, sir? Anywhere we are covering that?
I will be showing, I will be showing there is a session called as aerodynamics related, I think 4th day. So there I will be talking about moving mesh in trains.
There is another question. How
With some
to
speed.
simulate
So there we will
flow in how to simulate flow in pipe using quarter of pipe? I think you have already discussed about that.
How to simulate? Sorry, I didn't get it.
How to simulate flow in pipe using quarter of pipe?
Quarter of pipe. That is called as a.
Yes, Subhash, go ahead.
For that flow is only. Yes. So that is either axisymmetric or cyclic symmetry, cyclic or periodic.
So in the morning, I showed one slide actually.
Check it. If our flow is only in axial direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, sir, you can continue.
You can make a mesh only for the quarter of the pipe and set symmetric conditions
Yes.
for two boundaries. Or if the flow is swirling, then you can set a periodic
On
condition.
the both sides.
Okay, sir. I think the questions are that much only is there. Bharati? Professor Bharati is there?
Am I audible, Professor?
Yes, yes.
I hope all of you enjoyed the training session on 2D and 3D meshing, structured and unstructured meshing. Thank you, Silas sir and Subhash sir, for the wonderful session. It was very informative. Now I take the opportunity to extend my gratitude, and I like to thank all the speakers of today's session from Fluid and India Private Limited for the informative sessions provided to us and the participants. It's time to sign off for today. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope all of you found today's session informative and useful. Thank you for spending time with us. Kindly join for tomorrow's session at the scheduled time. And please provide the feedback through the link provided in the chat box and WhatsApp group. Thank you all. Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Arun sir. Thank you, Subhash sir.
See you tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Bye, sir. Was this a link is provided? Please give the feedback.